Okay, so I ran out of time on that last video because I can only do 15 minutes at a time for using the free version of Screencast-O-Matic. And where we had left off was we had converted the patient's weight of 45 pounds into kilograms, which gave us 20.5 kilograms. The recommended dosage is 20 milligrams per kilograms per day. The child weighs 45 pounds, which, like we said, we already converted to kilograms. And we're finding the amount to administer, which always means for a single dose. And the strength of the drug is 125 milligrams in every 2 milliliters, and the medication will be given every 8 hours. So looking at the frequency, every 8 hours is here, but it's per day here, so we know we're going to have to use that eventually. The amount to administer is for a single dose. We see that because of these 2 milliliters, it's a liquid. So let's go ahead and start with the milliliters. So 2 milliliters per 125 milligrams. And we wanted to get rid of the milligrams, so we multiplied by the recommended dosage, which is 20 milligrams per kilogram per day. That canceled out the milligrams. And then when we multiply by the kilograms, our next step, this is where we left off, so it's going to be 2 times 20 times 20.5. That's 820 in the top. That doesn't look right. I guess it is. Okay, over 125. And that's going to be in milliliters per day. Oh, we're not done yet. We can't stop that because that's going to be milliliters per day. So we need to split that up into every 8 hours, and every 8 hours is 3 doses per day. So we're not quite ready yet. We need to convert that into, well, the day is here, so it's 1 day, 3 doses. So there we go. Okay, so that doesn't change the top number. It's still 820. And in the bottom, it's 125 times 3, 375. And the units that are left, because the days cancel, are going to be milliliters per dose. Okay, so 820 divided by 375 is 2.186 repeating, and that's milliliters per day. Not per day, per dose. How do we round that? Well, it's an injection or a liquid where we aren't really told how it's administered, but it's a liquid, so we can pretty safely assume we're going to use a syringe to get as precise as possible. We're not going to use the smaller syringe this time. The smaller syringe would only have a maximum of 1 milliliter, and that means that we would need multiple syringes. So rather than that, we'll just use the 1 syringe, and because if it is a needle, we definitely want to give the fewest number, and we still want to, just give them one, amount of the liquid at a time. So this is a 3 milliliter syringe, and as you can see here, it is, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3 milliliters, and these are calibrated to the nearest tenth. So we're going to round this to the nearest tenth. So we're going to make that 2.2 milliliters per dose is the amount to administer. If you are not told whether it's per dose or per day, whenever you see that, how much you're giving the patient, you always assume that it's for a single dose, because that's how you're going to give the patient the medication, a dose at a time. You never know in between if the prescriber is going to change the amount that you give the patient. You don't know if you're going to be the next person to give the patient the medication. It could be somebody else's shift. You could be moved to another department, whatever. So that is how we calculate orders based on the patient's body weight. And in my next video, I'm going to talk about figuring out if the physician's order is suitable.